Today I will talk about how to configure a TIBCO Streaming server to deliver runtime performance statistics without overwhelming itself or a monitoring client. For simplicity, I'll call runtime statistics stats. The streaming platform generates stats continuously for each event flow and LiveView engine. To demonstrate, I have the Hello LiveView project, which I've modified with this custom configuration. Most of it is commented out, but I'll show how these settings are used shortly. To show data rates for different configurations, I added this module which reads the raw stat streams and emits the number of tuples for every report and the approximate kilobytes of data for each report. Here I show the SBProfile command collecting and reporting these stats. We see that after the initial connection of SBProfile to the server, there's a flood of information and then the flow settles down to the regular once per second output as SBProfile catches up. Be aware that for larger applications, this initial flood of data can overwhelm a client and force it to disconnect. The strategies that follow help correct this. The server CPU use for stats collection is lightweight and includes data each second for system, operators, streams, queues, threads, and garbage collection. Stats collection with default settings takes about 1 millisecond per second of CPU time for every 1,000 elements on a typical 3 GHz system. However, for larger applications, the collection and output of stats data can have higher CPU cost. For example, for the 4,000 operator application I have here, each report every second is roughly 1.5 megabytes of data delivered to the client. Whether that client is SBProfile, a container connection, a Stream-based monitor input adapter, or a custom Java or .NET client. The following approaches help the server and the client process stats more efficiently. We'll talk about how to 1. Reduce the update frequency. 2. Use compressed statistics. 3. Filter statistics delivery in the client subscription. And 4. Turn off statistics collection entirely. The first strategy is to reduce the update frequency of collection and slow down the reporting to the client. Let's configure the server to collect stats once every 10 seconds instead of every second. To reduce the reporting frequency, use the configuration file setting stats frequency milliseconds in the Stream-based engine or LDM engine configuration. This reduces both the server CPU used to gather stats and reduces the amount of data delivered to the client by the same factor. In my testing, this dropped stats collection CPU cost to 1/3 of the normal CPU cost. The amount of stats data delivered to the client was 1/10 the normal message volume. This can make the difference between getting useful stats or no stats at all due to a disconnect. Note that LiveView's own stats monitoring detects the slower output and reports a warning. Since the slower output is intended, you can suppress the warning using a custom logging configuration. If all stats types are needed, you may reduce the amount of data delivered to the client using a compressed format. This is incompatible with techniques that filter for specific types of statistics. Compressed stats data delivery is compatible with 3 clients only: the command line SBProfile command, the Stream-based monitor input adapter, and Stream-based Java client API clients. These 3 clients detect that the compressed stats v3 output stream is available and know how to interpret the compressed data format. Turn on the stat v3 stream and turn off the stat v2 stream using this setting: Stream-based engine, system properties, streambase.appgen.statschema version equals 3. The default system.statv2 stream format is uncompressed and directly accessible by any client. The system statv3 format uses an efficient binary format which reduces the physical size of the report by about 10 times. This reduces the amount of space needed in memory and in the network messages to transmit the same amount of detail. These 2 different stats formats are described in the documentation here: TIBCO Streaming, Stream-based Admin Guide, Using Stream-based Containers, System Container and Control Streams. The next technique shows how to exclude specific types of stats from being reported to clients. A monitoring client or self-monitoring container connection can use the StatV2 stream more efficiently by using a filter expression to limit the data to items of interest. In order to discard some types of statistics so they are never reported to the client, you must create a filter expression using the what field of the raw stats schema. The full schema is cycle, what, name, index, value, status, and time. For example, in my test, the full raw output results in 1.5 megabytes of data per report. Instead, using the same expression that LiveView uses for self-monitoring results in 260 kilobytes of data per report, or less than 1/5 the amount of data. This LiveView filter excludes individual operator statistics, but retains memory, queue, stream, and thread stats to support health checks. If you are only using the stream-based monitor adapter, you may filter on the allowed values for the what field using the streambase.monitor.predicate configuration setting. Any stats tuple for which the expression returns false is dropped. These what values are found here in the documentation: TIBCO Streaming, API Guide Contents, Java Client API. Click on Help. Click on Constant Field Values. Find the field values for com.streambase.sb.monitor.statkey. The isNullWhat expression matches the tuple with all null values included at the end of each report. This can be useful for knowing when a single report is complete if you are aggregating results. The same filter expression can be used in any customizable stream-based client or container connection. This is called a filtered subscribe. It is described in the product documentation here: TIBCO Streaming, API Guide, Developing Stream-Based Client Applications, Narrowing DQ Results with Filtered Subscribe. The filter expression for a client only affects what data is delivered to that specific client. All stats remain available for any other client. Note that SB Profile always receives all the available stats data, so filtering does not affect it. The most efficient approach, while still getting statistics, is to set a larger stats frequency milliseconds value for slower reporting, and then use a filtered subscribe into a client or container connection to limit the size of each report. Finally, if you no longer need stats collection because the code, runtime environment, and data inputs are all stable and functioning well, you may turn off stats collection entirely using Streambase Engine, Streambase, Engine Monitor, enabled equals false. We'd recommend you leave statistics turned on. 1. In order to facilitate troubleshooting, and 2. If the application is configured to self-monitor for any reason. In summary, we saw today how to reduce the reporting frequency, deliver statistics more efficiently, or create a custom filter to exclude unneeded statistics from a client or connection. Thank you for listening. Please leave any suggestions or comments here, or visit our community site. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.